Good morning, dear students. Today we'll talk about the last unit, Unit 4, Lesson 1, Nervous System. Nervous system, it is a communication and controlling system of our body. It is a communication and controlling system of our body. Dear, you studied before that any system is made up of group of organs, and any organ is made up of group of tissues, and any tissue is made up of cells. So, as nervous system is one of our body system, so of course it is made up of organs, tissue, cell. Now we'll see the component of the neuron. What is the neuron? Neuron is the cell of the nervous system. We call it neuron or nerve cell. Again, neuron is the cell of the nervous system. We call it neuron or nerve cell. Let's see the component of neuron. It consists of two main parts, which are cell body and axon. Cell body and axon. Firstly, let's talk about cell body. Cell body, it contains nucleus, cytoplasm, and plasma membrane. Also, there are some branches that extend from the neuron's body called dendrites that connect with the neighboring neurons forming synapse. Synapse is it looks like the tissue of other systems. Synapse, group of nerve cells. The second part is the axon. It is a cylindrical axis covered with a fatty layer called myelin sheath. It ends with axon terminals that connect with other neurons forming synapse or synaptic area. We call it synapse or synaptic area. Nervous system consists of two main parts, or two major systems, which are central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system consists of brain and spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system consists of nerves that emerge from the central nervous system. Firstly, let's talk about central nervous system. The first part is the brain. Brain, it is the main control center in your body. It is the main control center in your body. Why? Because it directs and coordinates all processes, ideas, behaviors, and emotions. The brain is located inside the skull. Why? Try to guess why the brain is located inside the skull. To protect it, as it contains millions of nerve cells. Brain consists of three parts, which are cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla oblongata. Could you repeat after me? Cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla oblongata. Again, cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. Now, let's talk about the first part of the brain, which is the cerebrum. Cerebrum, it is the largest part of the brain. It consists of two halves called two cerebral hemispheres. The outer surface of the hemispheres is called cerebral cortex, and it is gray. Hemispheres are characterized by having many folds on their surface. Cerebrum is very important. Why? Cerebrum controls the voluntary movement of the body, such as running race. What's meant by voluntary movement? Voluntary movement, the movement that we can control it. Voluntary movement, the movement that we can control it. The opposite is involuntary movement, the movement that we can't control it. The movement that we can't control it. as the movement of heartbeats. Heartbeats, we call it involuntary movement. So let's repeat again. Cerebrum controls the voluntary movement of the body, such as running the race. It receives nerve impulses from sense organs as eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. It contains centers of thinking and memory. It contains centers of thinking and memory. Second part of the brain is cerebellum. Cerebellum lies at the back area of the brain below two hemispheres or below the cerebrum. Cerebellum is very important because it maintains or keeps the body balance during movement. The third part of the brain is medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata is located in front of cerebellum. It connects the brain with the spinal cord. Medulla oblongata is very important as it regulates or controls the involuntary movement of the body, such as heartbeats. The second part of the central nervous system is the spinal cord. Spinal cord, it extends in the backbone, internal substance that is gray matter, and it appears in the shape of letter H, surrounded by white matter. So the gray matter is surrounded by white matter, and it is opposite to the brain. Brain is the white matter is surrounded by the gray matter. Spinal cord is very important because or as it delivers the messages from the body organs to the brain and vice versa. Vice versa means opposite. يعني it delivers the message from the body to the brain and from the brain to the body. It is responsible for reflex action. Reflex action such as withdrawal of the hand quickly on touching hot surface. The second major system is the peripheral nervous system. The second major system of the nervous system is the peripheral nervous system. Let's see the peripheral nervous system. The peripheral nervous system consists of cranial nerves, spinal nerves. Cranial nerves, they are 12 pairs of nerves that extend from the brain. Spinal nerves, they are 31 pairs of nerves that extend from the spinal cord. What is the function of the peripheral nervous system? Peripheral nervous system, it connects the body with the central nervous system, or it connects the body with the brain and spinal cord. Reflex action. Let's see what's meant by reflex action. It is the involuntary response that the body makes by the nervous system when it is subjected to an external stimuli, such as heat. Stages of the reflex action. 1. The hot object affects the nerve endings in the fingers, producing nerve impulses. By touching hot object, the hot object affects the nerve endings in the fingers, producing nerve impulses. These nerve impulses are transmitted through a sensory nerve to the spinal cord. These impulses are carried by a sensory nerve to the spinal cord. The impulses are transmitted from the spinal cord. Of course, the spinal cord responds by impulses. These impulses are transmitted, which are transmitted from the spinal cord, carried by or moved through motor nerve to the arm muscle, which contracts. The arm withdraws away from the hot object. The other nerve impulses are transmitted from the spinal cord to the sensory centers in the brain, which leads to the true sense of pain. There, the impulses which are transmitted from the nerve ending through the sensory nerve to the spinal cord, and the spinal cord responses by another impulses through a motor nerve. Till here, this is called reflex action. And some of the impulses that are transmitted from the spinal cord are transmitted to the brain to feel pain. Dear, this slide explains the stages of the reflex action. It explains the impulses that are transmitted from the nerve endings and the sensory nerve, motor nerve, spinal cord, and making your hands away. This slide explains the reflex action that we explained in the previous slide. Let's see types of nerves. We have three types of nerves: motor nerves, sensory nerves, and mixed nerves. Motor nerve, they transmit nerve message from the brain and spinal cord to the body. Sensory nerve, they transmit nerve messages from the body to the brain and the spinal cord. Mixed nerve, they work as motor and sensory nerve together. Examples of reflex action: pulling your hands away from hot cup or hot object, pulling your hands away from a plant with sharp thorns or spines, blinking when something gets close to your eye, and sweating in hot days. Constriction of the eye pupil due to the intense light and its widening on dim light. Secreting saliva on seeing or smelling good food. Running quickly on seeing a fast car moving towards you or hearing near explosion. Trying to balance during sliding down. How to keep your nervous system healthy. 1. Staying away from tranquilizers and stimulants. 2. Keeping away from sitting for long periods in front of computer and TV to avoid exhausting of sense organs. Giving the body a sufficient period of rest during sleeping. Avoid the extreme exciting situations. 5. Reduce the amount of drinking tea, cola, and coffee because they contain caffeine, which cause the following: affect sleeping periods, affect heartbeats, and lead to nervous tension. 6. Staying away from sources of pollution such as car exhaust, smoke, noisy places, and factories. Finally, doing physical exercises.